Here's how you round numbers to the nearest whole, tenth, or hundredth. Okay. As I've put up here in front, the number in front of your decimal can be considered your whole number. You've probably been taught that that is the ones place, which is correct, but it can also be referred to as the ones place. In order to find what a place value is worth, always look for the decimal. So any number that is to the left or right in front of it is the whole number. The number directly behind it, as in the 2 in this place, that is the tenths place. And the 3, which is 2 spots behind, is the hundredths. Basically, rounding is just making a long number shorter, making it very close but not exact. Basically, it's an estimate. So now, here's the rule on rounding. As you probably already remember, if the number that you are looking at is between 0 and 4, the number that you are rounding is going to stay the same. If that number that you are looking at is 5 through 9, it is going to round up. Okay, so let's put this into practice. So this problem here says round to the nearest whole number. What I've gone ahead and done is underlined each of the numbers that we are going to be rounding. So they say round to the nearest whole number. So we look at the 6. Okay, we identified where the whole number is. But in order to find out whether we should basically round up or round this number down, we need to look at the number behind it. In this case, the 8. Okay, the 8 falls between 5 and 9. So we need to round up. So the 6 will become a 7. Okay. This one, the nearest tenths. The 7 is in the tenth space. So we need to look at the number behind it, which is a 2. A 2 will fall between 0 and 4. So we're going to keep that number. So we're going to keep the 7 and everything else goes away. So we're going to have 9.7 and everything else is gone. So we have rounded to the nearest tenths place. Okay, the nearest hundredths place is this 8. Okay, the number behind it is a 0, which falls between 0 and 4. So that number is going to stay the same that we are rounding, and everything else will go away. So our answer is 118.38. Now here's a tricky one that tends to throw people off. I'm going to go ahead and round this number to the nearest whole, which is here, our 3. Okay? And if we look behind, our number is a 9. Well, between 0 and 9 means that I need to round up. Well, rounding this to would make this a 0. And if you think about it, you'd go, well, then that just means it's 3. Well, no, 3 doesn't go up. So the natural theory would be, let's go ahead and just round the 3 up 1. So instead of just making this a 0 and saying, well, our new answer is 3, that actually isn't up, that's down. We should make it 4. Okay. So why don't you go ahead and pause the video and try the 3 questions that are below and give this a try. And when you come back, I'll have the answers for you. Alright, so let's hope you've come up with these answers. All of these numbers were actually rounded down. So when we rounded this one to the tenths place, here's our tenths place. We look behind, it's a 1, which is not enough to round it up. So it's going to stay at 7, and the 1 goes away. Okay, and the hundredths right here. Again, 2 spots behind the decimal. We are a 6, and again it's a 1. Not enough to round it up, because that falls between 0 and 4, as we said at the very top. Anything between 0 and 4, and our number is going to stay the same. If it had been between 5 and 9, our number would have rounded up. And the same here, 16.4, rounded to the nearest whole number. The number behind this 6 is a 4. Again, between 0 and 4, not enough. So our number needs to stay the same at 16.